You have questions?
What is slashing?
We have answers.
Slashing is, like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. And, there's a penalty for that?
Yeah. You do that, you go to the box, 2 minutes by yourself, and you feel shame, and then you get free.
This is CBJ in 30.
Anything you folks want to know about the fascinating world of pro hockey, here we go.
Tweet your questions by using the hashtag CBJIN30.
We'd like to remind you folks, keep your questions within the boundaries of good taste.
Here's your host, Bob McElligott.
Well, hello once again, and welcome to a CBJ on 30 on this Good Friday. Blue Jackets coming off another good win last night as they beat the New York Islanders to get their 8th straight victory. Took a shootout to get it done last night. Hey, whatever it takes, right? That's what it's like at this time of the year. Whatever it takes to get it done, they find a way to get it done. Final score last night was 4-3. Blue Jackets at one point were down in the game by the score of 3-1, and they rallied back in the third period. Now, two things were talked about yesterday. Two things. And one of those things was about getting off to a quick start in the game. And they didn't, they gave up a goal, 2 minutes and 34 seconds into the first period of the game. So not really the quick start that they wanted. Not the way they wanted to start the game. Okay, I get that. Second period, another goal, a minute and something in. And then the third period, a goal 55 seconds into the third period. So that's how the Islanders scored their goals. They came out at the beginning of the period, jumped on the Blue Jackets, got the goals. Now, the fortunate thing is there are 20 minutes per period because the Blue Jackets used the remaining time in each of those three periods to come back and eventually equal what the Islanders had gotten. So it was, it's so funny. You watch these games and the way they go down every day, it's a different way. It's almost like a 3-hour movie script here, right? 2.5 hours, whatever the game lasts. It's like a script. It's like, they're going to prevail at the end. You just don't know how they're going to get there from the beginning to the end. But they continue to do it. And it's always somebody different. It's always different elements. It's a shootout. It's an overtime. It's a big penalty kill. It's a power play goal. It's all kinds of stuff. And it's so fun right now. Yeah, I know. It's too little too late. And you're not making the playoffs. I understand all of that. But you're also not pulling the chute. You're also not tanking it. You're trying to play your best hockey to get ready for what lies in the future. Because this team, unfortunately, has to focus on nothing but the future right now and what they're going to be. But they start what they're going to be next season by the way they play today. And they get it. They realize that. And they're proud of that. And that's why they're winning games like they're winning them. Now, yesterday, the big bone of contention was that Marco Dano was a healthy scratch and he was out of the lineup. And Jared Boll was going back in the lineup. Here's the thing I maybe didn't make quite clear yesterday. Jared Boll was not replacing Marco Dano in the lineup. Jeremy Morin was replacing Marco Dano. The reason that move occurred was because Dano had been struggling. Morin had played well. So Todd Richards gave Jeremy the opportunity to move up and play on that line with Hartnell and Wenberg. So it wasn't a Boll for Dano thing. Somebody told me this morning that if Corey Tropp had gone back in instead of Jared Boll, there wouldn't have been as much outrage. That people would have been better with that because it was perceived as it was a Boll for Dano switch. It wasn't. It was a Morin for Dano switch. And then the other spot was there. And I said this yesterday. Calvert's playing on the left. That's where Tropp plays. Boll plays on the right. The right was what was open. So that's where he went, back into the lineup. Anyway, it worked out. Now somebody, I'll just get right to it. I've got a tweet right here. Because yesterday I said I hope I get to brag tomorrow. And the CBJ Spider fan said, you only get to half brag today. Not even a point for Morin. And what do you think Dano learned? Well, I'll take half bragging over no bragging any day. That means I was closer to being right than even I may have thought I could be. No. He was fine. Was that line as effective as it has been? No, but I didn't think it was any worse than it was with Dano struggling in 2 games. I thought it was all right. That's the point about this team, though. If one line is struggling, the other lines pick it up. And that happened. It's been happening. And I thought Alexander Wenberg was outstanding. I think on that line, to me, the way they're playing right now, I don't care who you take off on the ends. Don't take out the guy in the middle. The guy in the middle is really special. The guy in the middle is outstanding. And he made some great plays. I mean, all over the place. Little plays. Just for the little scrums along the boards that he was able to win or chip the puck away or get it to somebody else so they could clear it. Face-offs against John Tavares that he was winning cleanly. I'm telling you, Alexander Wenberg, it's really starting to show what a special player this guy can be. And it's exciting. So anyway, that lineup change didn't matter one hill of beans, as it turned out. Yesterday, you would have thought the sky was falling. It's not falling. The streak is still intact. And the Blue Jackets march on. Now, third period, down by 3-1 margin. And how did they get the goals last night? Let's start with the first one. Down 1-0. Dalton Prout fires a bullet from the right point. It's going wide of the net, hits Brandon Dubinsky, and it goes in 1-1. That's why Dubinsky is there. That's what he does. He kicked it out to Prout, went right to the side of the net, looking for any kind of a play like that. Whether it's a rebound that he can dig out, whether if it hits him, doesn't matter. That's why he's there, doing his job. 1-1. Then they give up 2 more goals. They're down 3-1. And Cam Atkinson talked to me after the second period and said, Yaroslav Halak is giving up rebounds. We've got to get to these rebounds. And they finally did that in the third period, crashing the net. Jack Johnson kind of takes a chance, pinches in, gets down near the net, finds the puck, puts it in the net. How about Jack Johnson? Here's a guy that had the game winner on Tuesday against the New Jersey Devils. Now he comes back with a huge goal to cut it to a 1-goal deficit last night. It's that time of year for Jack Johnson, right? Stepping up, getting the job done. Simple as that. So he does his job. Then we go on, another rebound. Ryan Johansson pounces on it, puts it in the net. It's 3-3. Overtime, 2 minutes worth of power play time. They controlled the puck almost the entire 2 minutes, had great chances, didn't get a goal. Eventually go to the shootout. Letestu scores to make it 1-0. Bobrovsky stops a shot by Franz Nielsen. Or was it Calapozo? One of the two. I don't know. And then Ryan Johansson comes out, makes Halak look foolish, gets him to open up the 5-hole, puts the puck through. Bobrovsky, one more save. See you later. 2 points in the pocket. And 8-game winning streak, tying the franchise best winning streak that they set last year. So a big, big win for the Blue Jackets last night. They're all big this time of the year in the situation this team is in. I get it. But they make it exciting right down to the very end. They got the crowd into it. It was electric in here last night. And it was fun. Talked to Brandon Dubinsky all about it right after the game last night. Here's what he had to say. You guys come back again, this time a little bit different. Erase a 2-goal deficit in the third period. Just looks like you get to that point where there's such confidence, it's like you can almost flip a switch right now.
Well, we don't want to start having to flip switches every night and play from behind. But, again, the resiliency that we got, our group doesn't quit. I thought our game was pretty good. I mean, they got a really good team over there. And they had us in our zone in the second for a little stretch there. But that's what good teams do. And they scored one there. And obviously the one early in the third was tough to regroup from. But, we did it. We started taking control of the game and ended up finding ways to tie it. And, the shootout, we got 2 great shots and 2 great saves.
I guess if you really wanted to pick it apart, the one thing is that the goals that they got, they came early in each of the 3 periods.
Yeah, again, something maybe you noticed, but anytime they come, obviously it's from a breakdown. And like I said, they're a good team and they're going to get their opportunities and, they're going to score some goals. But we definitely can get better, and we'll learn from this tomorrow and when we get back to work here at 10 and correct what we need to.
Cam said after the second period that Halak was giving up rebounds. You guys just had to get to them, and that's exactly how you tied the game tonight.
Yeah, we definitely needed more traffic. Our D did a great job tonight, getting point shots through. And we had some traffic, but not enough, and we certainly didn't get the second and third opportunities. And once we did, we were able to score a couple goals and tie the game.
All that, a win is a win, and that's 8 in a row, though.
Feels good.
All right, thanks, Doobie.
One button makes all the difference, right? If you don't push just the right buttons, it just doesn't work. Anyway, win is a win, feels good. That's absolutely right. Great job by Brandon Dubinsky and the Blue Jackets last night. I talked about Jack Johnson, how important he's been recently for the Blue Jackets, coming up with some big points, some big goals at big times. He had one again last night, and he talked after the game.
I think that's just kind of the nature of hockey in that particular situation. We were, I think, building momentum, and we eventually got them back on their heels where they were in, more of a defensive mode, and we were taking chances, pinching, throwing everything we could at them, and fortunately it paid off. Sometimes it goes the other way on you.
We've talked about you guys wanting to play better at home and rack up more home wins. You've been much better over the course of, obviously, the month of March, but over the last few games here at Nationwide Arena, has it felt like a difficult building to play in again, like last season for visitors?
Well, I hope so. Probably better off asking the other team that, but you always want your home rink to be a home ice advantage. It's tough to get in pro sports because you're not really going to intimidate pro athletes or anything, but you want it to be an environment where the other team knows that they have to bring their best game, and it's going to be a fast game, it's going to be physical, it's going to be emotional, everything that hockey's supposed to be. And we know we owe our fans some home wins here, and we're going to try and close out the rest of the season the right way because that's all we have left to do. That's the reality of the situation, and all we can do is look forward.
Jack, you weren't feeling your best tonight. How were you battling through each shift?
I wasn't trying to keep that a secret, man. No, I mean, obviously I felt good enough to play. It wasn't anything too detrimental. I just go out and play hockey. I was in fine enough shape to play.
And when you score for the third straight game and a goal that is that pivotal and has that kind of impact on your team, what does it do for you?
Oh, well, it just makes me feel good that I can contribute for the team in any way. I took a chance by hanging out there on the side of the net, and just really grateful it paid off, and hopefully helped get the guys going. And whenever you can contribute in a win like that for your teammates, it's an unbelievable feeling.
It seemed to do that. I mean, it seemed to provide that spark. Tell me about the rest of the period then. Obviously, Joey able to tie it up, but what happened there maybe after your shot that ignited the bench?
Yeah, well, I think a couple of shifts before that, I think we really started to get them back on their heels, and we were down 3-1, and we really started to throw everything we could at them. You start taking a little bit more chances. Once you get down to the 10-minute mark and you're down by 2, you got to start thinking of pinching a little bit more, whatever you can to create offense. And they paid off for us. Sometimes it can go the other way on you, but I think a couple shifts before that we really started to get them back on their heels.
And finally, just a thought. Everybody knows what Ryan Johansson's going to do in the shootout. Everybody knows it's coming. They know he's going to slow down. What makes it effective?
Well, because he's got the ability to shoot or deke, so he does put the goalie in a difficult spot, and he's a talented player. That's what talented players do, and from the looks of it, I'm not a shootout expert, but he does the rare thing of making the goalie move first, and when the goalie doesn't know if you're going to shoot or deke, it puts them in a tough spot.
Yeah, one thing that's almost as guaranteed as death and taxes is that Ryan Johansson's going to score in the shootout. That's the way it's been. He hasn't missed very often. In fact, I can recall one that he missed here, and he actually had the goaltender beat, but he hit it off the crossbar. So he gets his chances, and it's his long reach that gives him those opportunities. As Jack said, he can shoot it or he can deke, and that's what he does. He comes in, he starts fast, he slows down almost to a stop, and the goalie tends to get antsy at times. And once the goalie gets antsy, that's when they are ripe for the picking. And that's when Ryan Johansson does his best work. That happened last night as he went one-on-one with Yaroslav Halak. And Ryan Johansson will tell us a little bit about that, I do believe. Here's what he had to say last night.
get to the net a little bit more and create some more second and third opportunities, and it was really evident how we were getting a lot more grade A opportunities once we started doing that, and obviously found a way to get a couple goals. You look at the Jack and mine, we had about 3 guys right around the net, so definitely that helped us with the win tonight.
You guys have been doing a good job through March in comeback situations, but you've also been able to, in the third period in particular, kind of find another gear. Is it just desperation or confidence, or is there a reason in the third period you're able to turn it up that notch?
Always when you're down in the third, you're desperate and try and do everything, find ways to score goals. But having a 2-goal lead against us, it was obviously tough to come back against a team like that. And we had all 4 lines and all 60 going and using our legs and our size and our skill. And I was really proud of the effort tonight and finding a way to win.
Doesn't it show at winning how big of a difference it is, Ryan? Because there were so many times early in the year you sat in this room and it would be very quiet and you would have let a game like that get away. But now you can just see that team confidence every time. It doesn't matter who's coming over the boards. You guys feel like that?
Yeah, exactly. We really feel like we've taken a step as a team and with our team game. And I'm sure you guys can see watching it, our structure and the way we're playing for each other right now. It's a lot of fun playing on the ice. So just want to keep trying and take every game here and do the best we can to win.
We see you go in so many of these shootout situations and have success. You didn't even have to go to the backhand today. Were you surprised by the opening that you got there?
To be honest, I was kind of hitting the panic button, and he started moving. It kind of messed me up too. So, I just tried to shoot it low glove, and thought I saw a hole, and it happened to squeeze in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he saw a little hole. He's being kind, by the way. It was a huge hole. 5-hole, 10-hole is what it turned out to be for Yaroslav Halak because Ryan Johansson got him to move first. That opened it up. He buried it. One more save, and that's all she wrote. Simple as that for the Blue Jackets. Big 4-3 shootout winner last night over the New York Islanders. The Islanders got what they were looking for, though. They got a point. They did get a point. So they break the tie with Pittsburgh. How about Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh didn't play last night, and they fell from a guaranteed playoff spot to a wild card spot because Washington got points. The Islanders got a point. So the Penguins are going to come in here, a very desperate team tomorrow afternoon, looking for points because they need them. And they've got to have them if they want to get back on top of the New York Islanders. So it's going to be a feisty Pittsburgh team that shows up here tomorrow afternoon for sure. 2 o'clock game tomorrow for the Blue Jackets. All right, I got a bunch of questions, but you know what? Before I do that, let's just go right through what happened elsewhere last night in the league. Montreal lost in a shootout to the Capitals. 5-4 was the final there. Ottawa, in overtime, got themselves a win over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Boston beat Detroit. Things are tightening in the Atlantic. Boston beat Detroit 3-2. The Florida Panthers laid the smackdown on the Carolina Hurricanes 6-1 last night. St. Louis Blues beat up on Calgary 4-1, and the Rangers were a 3-2 winner on the road in Minnesota last evening. All right, so how did the standings set up today? Well, in the Metropolitan Division, the Rangers, with that win last night, they clinched the division. They've got 105 points. Now that has them just 2 points behind the Anaheim Ducks for the overall lead in the league, looking for the President's Trophy. 105 for the Rangers once again. The Capitals go from the wild card spot to the number 2 spot in the division with 96 points. They're tied with the New York Islanders in points with 96. And so the Islanders sit third right now. Capitals 2, Islanders third. Penguins get bumped out into a wild card spot with 95 points. And the Boston Bruins with 93 points now that they won last night over Detroit, and they are tied with Detroit at 93 points. Detroit still, for the moment, in the third spot in the division because of the tiebreaker. But that could change here in the next 5 games. Montreal still sits on top with 103 points, and Tampa right behind them with 102 points. Over in the West. How about this? St. Louis Blues now 2 points behind the Nashville Predators. 103-101 is the lead there for Nashville, and St. Louis and Chicago both have a game in hand on the Nashville Predators. Chicago, by the way, has 100 points, so they're right there as well. Then, in the Pacific, Anaheim, I told you they have 107 points. Comfortable lead over second place Vancouver at 95 and third place Calgary at 91. But hey, guess what? Here are the LA Kings back in the playoff picture. The Kings with 90 points. Now they have bumped out for the moment the Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jets without Dustin Byfuglien for 4 games because of that cross-check to the neck of J.T. Miller. That could cost the Jets a playoffs. It very well could cost the Jets a playoffs. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But Minnesota's got 95 points, so they're falling off now. Once upon a time, a week ago, they had passed Chicago for a moment, for a couple of hours, to get into third place in that division. Now they're trailing by 5. Chicago's starting to take off. No surprise there. But the Kings are in right now. Dustin Byfuglien, 4-game suspension for cross-checking J.T. Miller on a didn't-need-to-do-it play. And now, one of the best players on the Winnipeg Jets has to sit 4 games. And they've got 5 left. And they're trying to get into the playoffs. What a bad penalty. What a dumb decision that was. And I know it's a spur of the moment, it's a heat of the moment kind of thing, but the guy's down on the ice. What would possess you to put your stick into his neck and drive his head into the ice? What? I don't know. And it wasn't just about him. It's not about his suspension. It's about him putting his team in a precarious position, needing his services night in and night out to try to get into the playoffs, and he just sucked 4 games out of the 5. Right away from his teammates. Not a good penalty. Not a good situation there for him or the Jets. Games tonight. Buffalo playing host to Chicago. The New Jersey Devils are at home to take on Montreal tonight. The St. Louis Blues play in Dallas. Colorado is at Anaheim. San Jose takes on Arizona. San Jose, who comes into the game, 5 games left, 5 points out. Tall task. But they're playing Arizona tonight. Should that not be 2 points for them? Should that not be a gimme 2 points, playing the Arizona Coyotes? You know, the Coyotes are almost worst in the league. They have almost surpassed the Buffalo Sabres. Do you believe that? Buffalo spent all these months working on being the worst, and they might blow it? Let's see. Here are the overall standings. You go down to the bottom. Buffalo is dead last with 52 points. Arizona's got 54. The Sabres are going to blow it. They're going to miss out on the number 1 pick. Potentially. Well, who's to say they would get it anyway? Because there's a lottery, so they could still get bumped out even if they were worst. But your best opportunity is if you're the worst. Again, the old Joe McGrath from Slapshot. You remember the championship game? When the Chiefs have decided not to fight, just to play hockey? And the Syracuse Bulldogs are handing it to them? They go in for the intermission, and Joe McGrath comes storming in. You're blowing it! One of those deals. You think Tim Murray needs to go into the Buffalo dressing room tonight if they would happen to be beating the Chicago Blackhawks? Go in after 1 period? You're blowing it! We've worked so hard. All the years of fashion shows. Oh, that kind of stuff. Anyway, what do you have for me today? Oh, CBJ Spider fan. I never answered the second part of his question. I just got off to the part where I got to brag, and I just pontificated on that because it's all that mattered to me at the moment. I never answered the other part. And the other part of the question was, what do you think that Marco Dano learned last night? What lesson other than play better can he walk away with? Nothing. Play better that is the lesson. That is the lesson. You're playing great. Now you're getting out of the structure. You're not playing so great. The old slap on the wrist. Take a seat, kid. 20 years old, you got a long way to go. Have a seat. Watch it from upstairs. See what you got. Come back tomorrow. And I think he will come back tomorrow. That's what I think. Jody says, I'd put Dano back in for the speed and chemistry of the kid line. Kid line? One of the oldest guys in the team's on that line. 2/3 of it is a kid line. Anyway, I think I would put him back in against the Penguins too. I would. See what happens. Gleno has been MIA for a while, but he's back today. It says, curious if in the offseason the Blue Jackets will ask for better player conditioning to reduce early injuries. I don't necessarily that was because of poor player conditioning. Maybe type of player conditioning or, some of it was freak stuff. So I don't think they'll ask for better player conditioning. They'll get their plan. Everybody will get their little book to take home for the summer. This is what you need to do, and these are the exercises you need to do, and this is the frequency of the exercises you need to do. They'll get that. They'll do it. Some of them have, well, most of them, I guess, have personal trainers. The organization will check in every so often. The young kids come in for development camp. They bring them in, supervise them. A lot of guys will stay here and work out throughout the summer. So I wouldn't say they'll ask for better player conditioning because I don't think it's that. I just think it's be different. Maybe they'll tweak it. Maybe they found, and I don't know, but it's possible you could find some things that you thought would work and didn't work, and so you change them for next year, whatever. That could be. But better player conditioning? No, I don't think that. Joshua says, can you imagine, in all capital letters, how much damage we could do in this year's playoffs? In my opinion, we could get to the Eastern Conference Final. Yeah, I can imagine it. I think everybody can imagine it. It's unfortunate. And I think you're right. I really do. There would be a lot of teams that wouldn't want to play him. There would be teams looking at the matchups going, oh, no, not them. Penguins could be saying that for tomorrow. Oh, why do we have to play these guys? Playing so well. I don't want to play those guys. Frederick Cairo II. If you had to do this show with one player, who would it be and why? Now, this is an interesting question, Frederick, because Jody Shelley and I just did an hour show the other night with Scott Hartnell, and it was fun. And Scotty was a true pro, and he took every question, he handled it, and answered calls, and it was great. It was great. So he is a viable choice. However, if I were to pick, I would pick Nick Foligno. Now, why would I pick Nick Foligno? Why? What would give him the edge? Well, Nick, I think Nick has a great sense of humor. He can be flamboyant. He's fun and he's funny. He relates well with people. I just think it would be a fun show. I think it would be a fun back and forth. So if I were to pick one guy on this roster, as it stands right now, I pick Nick. Should I get a button that says that? I pick Nick. But that's the answer to your question. I would do that. No doubt about that. No doubt. So tomorrow, 2 o'clock game against the Pittsburgh Penguins right here at Nationwide Arena. Blue Jackets will fly late Sunday afternoon into New York and take on the Rangers on Monday. Again, these games don't get easier. Well, Toronto does come in next week. But even they beat the Blue Jackets handily in Toronto, which is almost unthinkable. In any event, it's Pittsburgh on Saturday, New York on Monday. Real chance to be a disruptor for the Blue Jackets. Spoiler's been used for a long time. You're not really spoiling anything for the Penguins. They're going to be in the playoffs, but you're disrupting them because they might be a wild card or they might be a 2 seed. 2 seed is home ice. Wild card is, oh boy, who knows what wild card is. So you have a chance to put them into the unknown. That's a disruption. So the Blue Jackets could be disruptors. Or if you just combine disruptors and Jackets, they would be the Blue Jackers. Simple as that. But the Blue Jackets could be big-time disruptors tomorrow to the Pittsburgh Penguins. The big question for the Penguins is, will they be able to dress a full lineup tomorrow? They've been playing one defenseman, one forward short because they can't call guys up because they're against the salary cap. And they've got injuries. Letang is hurt. Ehrhoff's hurt. I know they've got injuries. Cry me a river about your injuries. I'm the last person that wants to hear about another team's injuries. I don't care. And I certainly don't care about their injuries. Well, somebody told me they called up Taylor Chorney. Wow. In any event, that team, the way they stand right now, are very beatable, especially by a team that's playing as well as this one is. And one thing about the Blue Jackets is they're not going to take anything for granted. They're not going to feel like we've won 8 in a row. The Pittsburgh Penguins are decimated by injuries. All we have to do is show up and win the game. They will not feel like that. Pittsburgh is one of the teams they do not get that attitude against. They don't. They see it as important. I asked Nick Foligno about it earlier today. He said it goes back to the rivalry from last year in the playoffs. Anytime you play this team, you want to beat this team. And they've done that this year. Beat them here, the shootout. Beat them in Pittsburgh 2-1, and Pittsburgh beat them once in Pittsburgh. So it's either a series split for the season, or it's 3-1 in favor of the Blue Jackets. That's what'll be determined tomorrow, as the Blue Jackets try to be disruptors to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And it should be fun. It will be fun. It'll be a Saturday afternoon. Be a great day to bring the family out. You know, have fun. Bring out the entire family. And just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. I think that should really be it tomorrow. That should really be the theme. The theme should be, you know what? Just come out, have fun, bring the family, enjoy Saturday afternoon at Nationwide Arena, and watch the Blue Jackets play a team that they hate. Pittsburgh Penguins. Come out and watch Brandon Dubinsky try to ruin Easter weekend for Sidney Crosby. Wouldn't that be something? 2 o'clock start tomorrow. Gates will open at 1. I've got the game for you on the radio network. It'll also be on Fox Sports Ohio. Enjoy the rest of your Good Friday. See you tomorrow.